Ken leaving PC Pro for him to join the stream.
Hmm?
In the chat, who knew it would take Ken to leave PC Pro? They can hear Skype, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it was beeping at me.
Oh, that's too funny. I could hear you, even though the call didn't connect.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, did you turn off like
Skype has been
Skype and stuff?
fucked this last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been fun. We're also live. We're also streaming up live. Okay,
Yeah,
we're doing
I'm
live.
just amazed.
What does that mean? I don't hear anything. Is there any audio coming through the mixer?
No, there's
Nope.
Okay, I got it. I hear you.
No.
Hey, Alan, can you hand me that yoga down there for the rundown?
Oh yeah.
Stretch into downward dog.
Schenkel. Ugh, I don't have a pick.
How about that sexy ass Ethernet connection you got sticking out of that yoga?
Dude, can I change this live? Hey, Jeremy, talk to me for a second.
I suppose I could, but there's no point. Josh hasn't connected. Everything will get messed up yet again in new and interesting ways. Where are you, Mr. Camera Thingy?
Mr. Camera Thingy.
I bet you I
Mr.
look
Camera Thingy is
fun.
my father.
Well,
It's a very weird relationship we have.
as long as he doesn't cut your hand off or anything. Josh, what have you done to yourself?
There it is.
God only knows.
Hey, Josh.
Hey.
Oh, it's
Everybody
starting.
doing?
No.
Flickery, flickery, flickery.
Yep. Ain't gonna work.
Everyone blink and sync, you won't notice.
Yep. It was running fine for like 45 minutes. Shit.
Bashing it fixed it. Oh, no.
You want to bounce it and then we'll just
Can
start?
you, have you
and-
tried turning off the output and turning it back on?
Hmm?
Have you tried toggling the output in vMix, the SDI output?
Oh, like turning off the
Uh-huh.
in the card?
Well, so there's an option in vMix to output to the SDI output, right?
It's going through the HDMI on the dedicated.
Sure. But there's an option for that, right? You can turn that on and off.
It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Turn off the external.
How
here.
come the
On too.
Really? What's the
Mm.
audio doing?
The audio is coming over the SDI channel as well.
Is it also like clicking in and out?
I mean, it's probably doing. It's roboting now.
Yeah. Let's roll back to Wirecast. I mean, if we do it now, it's just gonna fall halfway through the cast.
Mm-hmm.
It was working so nicely.
I know it was working great.
Yeah, but you didn't need it to. Why would it bother screwing up unless it's desperately needed?
The
What?
desktop presenter can't use the NDI stuff anymore.
Yeah, I have Desktop Presenter open on this computer.
It's gotta be that something with that card though. I just saw it flicker.
Well, you wouldn't see it flicker on there, Alan.
I wouldn't
No, you wouldn't.
if the input was doing it.
But it's the output card.
No, it's the input.
No, it's the input card. All the inputs were flickering.
How's it the input card? Because the entire screen flickered.
No, the
No.
input flickered. The whole screen's fine, but the
It just
yeah.
we got a problem with that card.
Yep, microcard's junk. We can shove the other HDMI capture card in.
The bad one?
Bad one?
Oh,
We had a bad one.
I thought there. What's the reason you swapped that card?
Because it has 4 inputs.
No, the quad one got sent off because I bricked it.
But what Alex is saying is we have a single HDMI capture.
Yeah, we got a single HDMI with a standard HDMI input. That's what I had in there before when we shipped it off.
Oh,
Let's bring the stream up and tell them we're going to be down. Oh, we're unmuted. Unmute us.
Are we muted? I don't think we
we're
are.
sending out audio.
Here's
Okay, well, the lower third's still up.
Is it up?
It appears to be.
It's not balanced, but yeah, maybe it take us 5 minutes to swap that card in.
Yeah. Bear with us, guys. It's going to be another 10 minutes probably. We'll be right back.
Yay, hardware difficulties.
What are we, the WAN show?
So what? Okay, so what card is? Is it a quad input? It's all black because everything was black.
Everything is black. It's not. It's not.
Oh, I saw. Oh,
Oh,
Hey?
you freaking you wiggled the mouse back and forth and it did the minimize all the windows thing. Oh,
You'll have that.
but
But.
jeez, I kind of look like I got up at 4 in the morning to be in the office by 6.
Oh God, no.
Even
Put a
better,
hairy
I get to
dog
do
for
it
you?
tomorrow.
wow.
2 offices, changing ISP. It's gone lovely.
Alan got to the office at like 4 p.m.
Bastards.
What do I do at 4 p.m.?
You got to the office at like 4 p.m.
Oh, well, I mean, I'm usually working on crap at the house before I roll in anyway.
This week's delay brought to you by Blackmagic and
Yeah.
their piece of shit hardware that doesn't work.
Uh-huh.
This brand new $1,000 capture card is not functioning up to standards.
Well, it was brand new, but not used for a long time, right?
No, we just got this from Amazon this week.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the new one?
Absolutely new in box.
I unboxed it Tuesday.
How the hell is that a new card with that?
Their manufacturing process is awful.
It's pretty bad.
Can you see that? You
It's,
probably
you
can't
can't really
tell.
see that
No.
in the video.
No, you have to zoom it in.
It does not look like a properly constructed board. Is it an auto?
Nope. Yeah, that camera's gonna be unfixed.
Yep.
I wonder if you can play
Unless that
Frisbee
is what the back of the board looks like, in which case I totally agree with
Don't
you.
play frisbee with it.
Uh,
You RMA it.
Yeah, they are saying to send it back and RMA it. However, the reason we have this capture card is because our old version of this capture card bricked itself during a driver install in which it tried to do a firmware update and blue screened. So we sent that one back from RMA, and we ordered a new one from Amazon so we could do the podcast this week. And it's half dead, we'll say.
It flickers.
Yeah, it flickers occasionally.
It does a light switch rave.
We should send them one of those glitter boxes that Ryan got
Yeah, yeah.
No.
instead.
He should have just not opened it and
One.
just forwarded it on to Blackmagic.
You guys' desktop remote good?
It's running. I don't know if you see it.
I see show notes.
Yep.
Hey, that's it.
Show notes. I hope I didn't blow out anybody's ears.
No, you go through a compressor.
Oh, very nice. I have some echo back to me.
Yes, so do I.
Echo.
Echo?
You shouldn't.
Echo.
Give it a
Echo.
second. Give it a second to clear up.
It's not clearing up this time.
It's not?
Who knows?
No.
Not yet.
Alex, you didn't pot up the return, did you?
Nope.
Anything? Yeah, I still got echo.
Yeah. 5 minutes later, it usually would have cleared up by now, but it's not that bad.
Weird.
Oh, there is an echo.
He plugged into the other place
Oh.
because we don't hear it.
Oh,
Wait, is the HDMI capture card audio muted?
Oh,
in
yeah.
Wirecast?
That's what it is. The HDMI capture card. Do you hear an echo from
Are you
us?
dripping? Was that a triple there, Ken?
Hmm?
You drinking a triple?
It's double. Oh no, it is a triple.
Wasn't that shot using Intensity Pro as the audio in just then?
Mm-mm.
This isn't a real triple. It's only 7.8%.
Just like a 2.5.
I thought I
Listen
just.
in Belgium.
I mean, I don't see. Well, we know we're not getting echo on what's going out to the stream because the bars are.
Yeah, well, that's the important thing.
Right click on the studio shot and go to the change audio.
Oh,
Wait,
no,
that's the
that's
source.
video.
You didn't
Change
change it.
audio.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's not. I don't know.
Huh.
I hear France.
Oh, because you didn't have it chosen. You didn't have the audio picked on the bottom. That's why it wasn't going out anymore.
Right. I was trying to see where it was coming from.
So when Jeremy hears Josh talk, is Josh echoey to Jeremy?
No.
No.
I'm only getting it back myself.
Oh.
I bet that Wirecast is using.
I don't know what is
We have
going
secretly
on.
installed a loopback. It's not supposed to work this way, but
But it's
probably
only
using-
doing it for those two guys.
I think it's using the Scarlett for the headphone.
Hey guys.
You can check the audio for each Skype, see what the audio settings are.
No, I'm talking about Wirecast coming out. Because I have this turned off on the headphones here. That's the local monitor.
Right.
Yeah, turn that on, and there's the echo. So I think Wirecast is opening the Scarlett twice.
Oh,
So I think we just leave it off, and we'll be okay.
but they still hear echoes.
No, when I clicked it off, the echo went away. I'm monitoring off the Scarlett now.
Oh, so Jeremy, if you talk, do you hear echo? Jeremy.
oh, all right. Yes, I hear echo.
I hear
See?
echo too.
They both hear themselves echoed back to them specifically.
Yeah.
So Skype's doing it.
Yeah.
Or
But it
not
actually
doing
is the start of the word. It doesn't necessarily finish the word, but I get the start of the word back.
It's the mix minus is confused and
Yeah.
Skype or whatever.
it. Mingo in the chat said this would have never happened if Ryan was still alive.
Well,
No comment.
yes, Jeremy.
I know nothing.
Letting Ryan near Linux is as bad as letting him play with a raid. Yep.
Yeah.
There was a set of drives I was considering putting into the array here, and one of the drives died on the test bed.
You let him touch it, didn't you?
It wasn't even in a RAID. It was just individually connected to the system, and then it just died. It just like 4 terabyte read, just started clicking. It was sitting right next to me. It's like I was trying to run a couple of tests on it so I can get some benchmark data on it, and it just went away. It's like, wait, you're gonna put me in a Ryan Shrout raid? I'll just end it. I'll just end it right now.
Drive the needle through my platter right now.
Yeah.
That's it.
Ryan isn't dead. He just found religion.
We founded a religion.
Well, we did do that.
Yes, by dying and
No, the Church of Higher
passing
Processing.
on
Church of Higher Processing, man.
to the greater level, the next step.
The next level.
It's got so much processing.
Got a hardware upgrade.
So much processing, unless it's for video capture, then we have
No, we got plenty of processing power.
no capture processing.
I'm only 36 minutes late.
Yeah. Gonna start this thing before something blows up.
Just do it. I don't care. I can handle the echo.
Okay.
Yep. As long as they're not getting it.
No, we're not getting it. All right. 3, 2.
Every time,
Bonk,
Ken.
bonk.
Every time. You just can't go with a cold intro, can you?
All right. 3, 2. Hey, everybody. Welcome to PC Perspective. This is podcast number 438, being recorded February 22nd, 2017. I'm Alan Malmontano.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walraff.
And I'm the ghost of Ryan Trout.
Yeah.
Ooh, scary.
Ooh, scary.
Are you guys still getting paid? Because I'm pretty sure he just moved on without you guys.
He just left. Yeah.
This is going on like 3 weeks
But
now,
I thought you were
right?
coming back to like be hired on to work and stuff.
Apparently not, because this just doesn't exist anymore
gonna
as
be-
far as I'm concerned.
No paycheck for you?
No.
No paycheck for anybody? I'm sure I could find the the QuickBooks
The
and
login
stuff,
information.
and yeah, I'll just
Until
Just
the money
get
starts running out.
Patreon.
yeah, I'll just start sending out the checks. I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
Where's the Ryan cardboard cutout? We'll
We could
put
just we could just sell all of this stuff, and that'll make payroll for a little while, right?
Yeah, here we go. We'll just take.
Ah, here he comes. He just walked in the door.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's. Oh hi Ryan. How you doing? Oh crap. All right. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about the email address since, Ryan's not alive to check it. PCPro.com/podcast. It's where you'll find the show notes for the show that we're doing, and the show notes for the previous shows, and the shows that are the previous shows, and all that stuff. Twitter.com/Ryan Trout or Twitter.com/PCPer for the info about like what's going on recently on the site. We have a spam list that's not spam. You will get no spam on PCPro.com/subscribe. Give us your name, your email. We will shoot you an email when we're going to try to start the show. Unless, capture cards and
All
stuff.
of our hardware blows up.
Yeah, unless random hardware decides to die. It's a shame, too, because Alex has been, busting his butt to try to get this thing that's not Wirecast up and running, and, it was running, flawlessly, except for the fact that the capture card basically crapped itself. And then in troubleshooting it, we switched back to Wirecast, thinking that would fix it, but it didn't, so then...
Wirecast fixes nothing.
So technically, we probably could actually be using that other thing,
I thought about that at some point, but
then we're just... No.
Too many variables.
So if you're ever going to put on a show, this is the best part of the show to watch because you can see the millions of fail states that we have encountered.
It's true.
Yeah.
And there's a new one every week.
Yeah, basically.
Pass the knowledge on to you.
We hope that once we get a more reliable capture card in, that things might go a little bit smoother in the future, like removing the possibilities of Wirecast crashes at random.
Maybe if we just get a Zen-powered machine, everything will be matched.
No.
up.
Hold on, we're
Matrox.
not there yet. Wait.
Matrox.
Okay. Next up, Patreon. Patreon.com/PCPer. Where you can help contribute to us maybe affording the hardware to be able to keep the stuff working properly.
Hey, we can afford it. It just doesn't work.
Yeah. It's what a mess. Anyway, we're up and running. So let's get through the week in review and the news and the other stuff before something else blows up at random.
Or I take it.
Yeah. Okay. First item up for bid. Scott Michaud wrote up article on Vulkan 1 year later. Who wants to talk about the Vulkan, the 1 year later? Bueller?
Apparently, it's been out for a year.
It has.
How many games? Oh, sorry. How many games have shipped on it? Doom.
5?
Is it really 5?
They patched that one game.
It was Doom, Ashes,
The robot puzzle game.
Robot Puzzle.
Protein?
Damn it.
What is that called?
Okay, so I think you guys are making
the
the point.
Talos principle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Talos
Talos
Principle
Principle.
is the one I'm thinking of.
The ashes of the singularity.
Singularity.
Doom.
Yeah,
Doom was a big one. Doom was good.
Yeah.
that's true.
A very good
Anything done
implementation
on
of that.
Unity. Like anything done on Unity could do it.
Okay.
Don't, but they could.
All
And that's
right.
a lot.
So I mean, where does that put us? Like, it was good. It was good, but not really came out in a lot of places. Like, what? I'm surprised it was a year.
And hey, Intel supports it.
How many
They just added
DX12
it to
titles do we have?
Scabby Lake, Cabby Lake, and Sky Lake.
I
Yeah.
mean, we probably only have a couple more DX12 titles than that. There aren't a whole lot.
Okay.
DX12 has been out longer.
So maybe it's more just developers not wanting to switch over to something new.
Or maybe DX11 is just good enough for
I mean-
what most people do.
Yeah. To see any advantage out of DX12 and Vulkan, it requires a lot of development effort. That's
Yeah.
something we've learned. Whereas we kind of thought DX12 might be sort of a easy thing to benefit from in the beginning. We've slowly learned that it takes a lot of implementation to take advantage of the lower level stuff in DX12.
Well, the Doom guys sure seem to be able to implement that pretty quick.
Weird. It can render well. It can develop an engine.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, moving right along. Next up, Ryan took a look at the Eero home Wi-Fi system. which is basically
Mesh.
basically like a mini mesh network for your house, which, you know, seems pretty cool. So he did an install at his house of the system. And I'm trying to, I mean, he's talked about it on and off at the office.
That is not his house, by the way.
Oh, wait. That looks
No,
not like the office.
The picture.
Oh.
Cutaway.
Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. So fine.
He
Yeah.
doesn't.
He doesn't have the nice, awesome.
The
He
45
doesn't
degree
look
roof.
like he lives in the Brady Bunch house.
Yeah.
Ryan is very into mid-century modern design.
You drive down the street, Ryan Street, and you actually see like it's just cut away like that. There's just, you know,
Just a big thing of plexiglass.
yeah, it's a big pane of plexiglass on the front of it.
He case modded his house.
Basically, yeah. That's how he rolls. So he goes through the setup and the configuration. It looks like it has a, you know, an iPhone app and lets you. The idea here is that it's supposed to be painfully simple to get everything up and running, which is not the usual case for a wireless mesh network, might I add. So, you know, if these guys are able to get this just kind of working in a very simple manner for people, that would make it worth the, let's see, you get 3 in a base package for, what is the base price? I have the other prices. So 2 packs for $349, individually for $199. I don't see the price of the triple package that he's talking about. Anyway, automatic updates. He noted that there was no VPN,
That's not his hand.
and is that not his?
That's
Looks
not
more
his
like
hand at
Sebastian.
all. His hand is way more reflective than that.
Oh.
Is he hiring hand models now? This is why we can't have capture equipment.
I guess. So he noted that there was no VPN, and he says USB functionality. So there are USB 2 ports. Huh. And they're limited to diagnostic functions only. So you don't get like the, you know, plug a USB hard drive into your router style thing. I mean, you could, like, if you had a regular router and then piggybacked all of these off of it, but I don't think that's the point.
No, that's definitely not the point.
All right. Well,
Well, what do you think of it?
well, if you look at his bandwidth test there, compared to an AC 3200, I think he's getting a little bit more throughput.
Maybe a bit more.
I don't understand why he was getting such low throughput.
So what?
So he's not testing
How far
right
away
in
was
front of
he?
the router.
Yeah, how far
Says
away was he
15
from the
feet
ASUS
away.
router?
Oh wait, one of the hotspots is in the hallway, about 15 feet away. Oh, okay. So this was
The
like,
bedroom, he's got a floor and probably like there's no way he's got line of sight.
yeah, his bedroom's on the second floor. So, and his router is.
While
I mean, it's-
Ryan was away, the builders secretly put in a Faraday cage in every room.
So the way his house is laid out, he had all of his like router stuff where his entertainment center stuff was, which was on the first floor and kind of like on a diagonal of where their bedroom is, I think. So not only is it a second floor, but it's like you're cutting across the house as well. So, you know, he was getting 13 megabit from the router before, and then just by having this mesh, which extends the network, you know, with higher speeds, obviously, and you're closer to the thing, wherever you are on the house, it went from 13 to 287. So
That's quite a few percentage points.
2100% improvement.
Problem is that spending 100 instead of spending like 120, 130, he's spending 450, 500.
Okay, here's the price of the 3-pack. 3-pack lists for 500.
Yeah.
But street prices go between 400 and 450. And then
what's
there's
the price on that Asus router right now?
It's not cheap.
It's like 120 or 150, isn't it?
that router?
It's at least $200.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
is it?
Yeah, it's like $200.
It's more expensive than I thought.
Yeah,
thing is, though-
that's a very high-end router, which is interesting.
Well, you have to realize that, I mean, it doesn't matter how high end the router is if it's just one router and you're trying to go through a bunch of stuff, right? So,
I mean, to some extent, right?
Yeah.
Like, more expensive routers generally have better range because they
Yeah, like the
have better
power,
radio
it's-
arrangements.
yeah, it's-
And this is a tri-band router.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's $200 on Amazon right now.
I mean, the other benefit I see from this, if you've played with wireless repeaters, they're not necessarily the most consumer-friendly product. You literally actually have to set up IP addresses for them, line them up. Well, you'd have to line these up somewhat as well, but you don't have to screw around with the configuration like you do with a repeater, and occasionally one of them barfs and you got to reset it and put everything back again. These guys, you just punk, done, more or less.
All
I
right.
can see an argument for the extra cash, but on the other hand, to pick up 2 repeaters in that router, you'd probably spend less.
All right.
Yeah,
I mean-
this isn't the only mesh network option. I think he just got in the Google Wi-Fi. I think they just call it Google Wi-Fi, their mesh option. So
Yep.
this is definitely something we're taking a look at. It's something that a lot of different companies are pushing in the market right now. So stay tuned for some comparisons to some similar products. Maybe don't go out and buy this one just yet if the whole mesh idea sounds good, because we have some stuff up and coming with competitors that'll be interesting to take a look at.
All right, next up, Sebastian took a look at the Logitech G213 Prodigy RGB gaming keyboard. So this is where'd the price go? This is a $70 keyboard. It does not use cherry switches. It's using Logitech Mech Dome keys.
So it's like a membrane.
I guess 4mm travel distance, 50-gram actuation force, quiet operation. Okay. So the idea here is you're looking for a low-cost RGB keyboard, and if you don't use cherry switches, that's a good way to knock the price down a fair amount. What did he list for pros and cons?
Well, it's got RGB. That's definitely a con.
I mean, RGB, good. He says its experience is very close to a mechanical option with those keys. Interesting. It's just probably one of those things you just have to try in person to really understand, just like most of those keyboards. But Sebastian was impressed enough to give it a silver award, so must be,
I mean,
decent for the money.
yeah, if you're just gaming, but I mean, if you're not coding all day, if you're not writing all day on your computer, especially your desktop at home, and you just play games on it, maybe you use your laptop for everything else or your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
You probably don't need a $150 MX Cherry keyboard.
Probably not.
And something like this is, I think $70 probably still a little expensive for that price range, but it's going to be a very well-built thing looking at Logitech's keyboards. I mean, they don't really cheap out on materials or anything, so
Yeah.
be a good option. And, the RGB stuff can be cool if you're not Jeremy and a Luddite.
And if you have a Logitech mouse already, then you don't have to deal with trying to have the Corsair RGB keyboard software and the Logitech
Yeah, true.
software all installed at the same time. And
Yeah, the syncing, the stuff they do between their headsets, all their RGB products, which,
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably just everything at this point, right?
Yep. So you can have the color of the mouse matching the color of the keyboard. And
Still telling you, between washable keyboard and glowing keyboard, I'm sticking with my washable one. As a smoker, it's a good thing.
all right. Apparently you can pre-order AMD Ryzen today.
Now let's talk about the Bulldog.
The Bulldog. Wait,
Sure,
where
Ryzen.
are
Who
we?
cares?
Oh.
We're right.
Is get switched up in the rundown.
No.
No.
No, he's
Eating an
giving everybody a
ass.
hard time.
He's just trying to not talk about like the main story of the night.
So, okay. I wasn't expecting this when I went to the Amazon, when I clicked through the Amazon page. You can still pre-order at least the Ryzen 7 1700, which is what I clicked through.
Yep.
That seems unexpected to me. I expected them to sell out today.
I think Newegg did.
I do think Amazon put up the single CPU bundles pretty late in the game today. Like they didn't necessarily launch them at one, like other retailers. I think they had bundles listed at one with motherboards. But yeah, it looks like you can still pre-order all of them on Amazon. Well, not the 1800X, so not the lead SKU.
Yeah, no, lead SKU went.
All right.
Anyways, Josh, tell us about Ryzen.
Well, what do you want to know?
I want to know why AMD is saying I should buy it without independent reviews.
Well, that's a really good question. They've been
Quick,
they've been trying to
pre-order
build
them
up
now.
the hype for it, and this is just another way to kind of keep their name in the news, I guess. We've got in the next couple of weeks we're going to have actual products on hand. People will be able to test it. They gave us out quite a few little benchmarks that they did in house. From those they compete well with what Intel has, and they undercut the prices of each Intel thing pretty spectacularly. But I think it's interesting. I wonder how long they've been kind of stockpiling these chips. Maybe they're just trying to guess at demand by sending up pre-orders. I don't know the thinking behind all of it. It's interesting. I mean, we've been waiting for Ryzen for the past 4 years, since we knew that Bulldozer was going to be a dead end, and they needed to have a new architecture. They certainly did well from what we see, even if there's a couple of considering the amount of leaks that we have had, these benchmarks look more or less correct. They probably did kind of cherry pick some of the parts, as well as the benchmarks that they do well in, but they're a company trying to sell their own products. So it's going to be interesting to see how much demand there actually was with this pre-order, and how will that affect their future products, such as an upcoming graphics card that we'll be hearing about sometime in the quarter. So I don't know what their thinking is, but it's like they're dipping their toe in the pool to see how warm the reception is before, I don't know, going skinny dipping and show it all off. So
Yeah,
Well, pre-orders work.
yeah.
In this marketplace right now, pre-orders sell out like crazy, and I don't want to curse them, because I honestly hope this goes at least as good as they're saying, if not better. When pre-orders fail and it turns out to be utter and complete garbage, or when we said you were getting it this year, we kind of meant next year, no one seems to care. They still pre-order stuff. It makes sense financially for AMD to get some money in their pockets, because right now they kind of desperately need it. I'm not a fan of them doing this, but I can totally understand financially why you would, because people are buying it.
they've got built-in demand, because there are a lot of people who bought into Bulldozer and PileDriver and have kept these boards and CPUs going for a long time, waiting for the next big thing. And finally, we've got the next big thing. And I think the question that I have is how well the chipset is going to work. The A320 or A300, B350, and the X370. These are unproven parts, and a bad Southbridge or bad I/O can really doom a product.
The rumor was that who was producing these chipsets? It wasn't AMD, or the design
As Media.
As Media. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
right. That's so interesting.
They've come a
It's
long
been
way from a
such a
USB
long-
controller.
Well, it's been such a long time since we've seen third-party chipsets, right? Well, I guess it isn't a third-party chipset because it's still the AMD chipset, but chipsets produced by third parties.
Well, technologies designed by third parties
Yeah.
to be integrated in a chipset.
Fair.
Yeah.
So, looking at the one benchmark we have from them, Cinebench, what do you think about the pricing?
That's good. It's pretty
Yeah, I
good
mean, if
pricing.
we were only living in a Cinebench R15 world,
I mean,
it would
that's
be
all I ever
outstanding.
do is Cinema 4D. So, I mean,
Well,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's having 8 cores, 16 threads running at that speed, 3.64 gigahertz, and we haven't really even tested the the X portion of it, which is what a extreme frequency XFR.
It's supposed to
what that's
give
called?
you. It gives you like another 0.1 or something, supposedly.
Yeah, like another extra 100 or 200 megahertz, depending on cooling
Yeah.
and power.
Well, I mean,
So-
that probably is being tested in these because they're just running Cinebench on a configured system, so it's probably doing that stuff because they probably have appropriate cooling on it.
It was doing it
for
at the
to-
demos at that event.
Yeah, for it to hit that stuff,
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
But the price for the top end chip of $499, if you're considering cores, threads, and overall performance, that's a really good deal as compared to the Intel 6900K, which is $1,100 almost.
Yeah, 1050.
Yeah. So it's a big chunk of change, and you're saving. You can get a 1080 nearly for what you save, and so you got the CPU, GPU, for the price of just a CPU. And I don't think that they're going to be as good in terms of IPC with single core and in some gaming situations, but it's going to be pretty dang close. And AMD realizes this, and they know that they can't charge $999 for
Yeah.
their top end Ryzen SKU in this kind of climate. And if you probably look at what Intel is selling at the 1000 and 1600 level, it's probably not much, because for a lot of people, a 7700K is going to be more than good enough for their uses. Those who are looking to build a low priced rendering machine or video editing or sound editing, something that will utilize all those cores and threads, then AMD has just brought in an outstanding product. Well, from what we think,
Yeah.
at that price point for people who will actually utilize it in these type of circumstances.
I mean, I guess it's not necessarily that we think there'll be anything misleading when we actually benchmark these parts. It's just that they will have better better performance in multi-threaded applications for the price as compared to Intel, and they will lose in single-threaded applications for the price.
Yep.
Right? Like that's exactly how this is going to work out. And the real question is, what workloads in the real world that people actually use are multi-threaded versus single-threaded? Sound fair?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
It
I mean, I wish we can go into some of the other things. I mean, and not so much stuff that has been leaked or that we have under NDA, but we've been given some specifics about die size and transistor counts and how AMD has packed in a whole lot of transistors as compared to what Intel has in smaller die size than what we see with the i7 6900K. There's a lot to go over, and I'm sure in the next 2 weeks we're going to be talking about it more and more.
Well, I mean, now we know March 2nd. So,
Yep.
Well, that's when they'll be available.
yeah. So we'll miss next week's podcast. But I think we might have a video. So you should stay tuned for that. And probably a very extensive article to go along with it.
Sweet.
You might even see Ryan.
Maybe Cardboard Ryan. I don't think actual Ryan is.
All right. Well, Ryan's hopefully probably coming back with some samples to test. So, we'll know soon.
Hey, and we actually have motherboards, AM4 motherboards in retail.
Yeah.
A lot of them, though, are showing up on the 7th. So some people are going to have a chip.
Oh,
without
no. That'd be the
for
worst.
5 days.
That'd be so bad.
It was.
They can just sit there and look at it, I guess.
Just polish your
It does have
processor.
it does have
You know
that
what I mean?
that very nice looking Ryzen laser etch into the CPU.
More, you'll
The
already be
branding.
like lapping it and stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Not
take
after
off
you
the heat
spend a
spreader.
week lapping
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he needs time to do that, to break that die. What do we want to do next? Do we want to go next in the rundown or next on?
I mean, I think we can probably just quickly mention the other Ryzen entries we have in the rundown. Like Josh mentioned, there are a bunch of
Way to ruin
motherboards.
Josh's segue.
Yeah.
Well, so we can cover the BioStar motherboard, which is right here.
Was anyone aware that
Um,
BioStar still existed?
I was not.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I mean,
It's
I hadn't
not a
heard-
terrible looking board. It's
No,
not
no,
great,
no.
but it's
I
not
was
terrible.
I was pleasantly surprised that
Yeah, I'm just
How-
surprised that they're still making boards because I
Yeah.
hadn't heard that name in a long time.
They're still there for mid range.
Yep, they're
It used to
definitely.
be the bomb when the NVIDIA chipsets were around.
Oh yeah.
they're
Had the
using
inexpensive ones.
they're
Yeah.
using the digital power phase stuff, the PAL IR stages. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I know Gigabyte was touting that as a long time as they were kind of the exclusive people for the digital VRM stuff.
So now they're not that exclusive anymore.
Yeah, I
And
imagine.
if you like
couple
LEDs,
people
it's
have
got
it at this
LED DJ mode, so your lights will dance.
Oh man,
Sweet.
yeah.
All right. And then there's already a bunch of Ryzen powered PC pre-orders up in various places around the interweb.
Yeah, I grabbed a few of them. Going from main gear that it's a computer.
Yep.
But I mean, the starting at just under $1,000 with a 470 paired with it. All of them have H60 coolers except for the very top end one, which has got a custom hydro cooling on it. They're more of the solid, it's going to work for you, and they should be shipping on the 2nd. You got main gear, which have been going all out for a while and are on this one as well. So everything's water cooled. Essentially, you're choosing, you want, you can choose air cooling if you want. I can't imagine why you would with these guys, because they'll either do soft tubes or hard tubes for you.
Oh,
So,
that's nice.
yeah, if you're spending $2,500, you can ask for hard tubes and get a really nice looking system and decently powered. Origin is they're sort of not exceptional, but better than, say, certain gaming software. And with they're just sort of basic. The one I was interested in was NCIX, who listed a couple of pre-builds, but also have a very long list of motherboards, B350s and X370s, and a bunch of the coolers that will be AM4 compatible. So it's worth at least clicking through on that one, just to sort of look if you're planning on building your own. And yes, that fancy looking platinum, I believe that's MSI on the side.
$299.
Yeah, but it's got two M.2 slots in it.
Well, a lot of the X370s do.
Yeah.
And one of them
It's
is
impressive.
U.2. But yeah, it's nice. Something worth noting is remember that most X370 boards will not have any kind of video output, because the assumption is that they're primarily going to be used with Ryzen chips, which have no internal GPU. So keep that in mind. Thinking you don't need a video card with Ryzen, or you get a B350 and try to hook up video with a Ryzen chip, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, that is kind of unfortunate. We've been so used to, like, not necessarily building a system around something like a 7700K with integrated graphics, but the ability to troubleshoot using the onboard GPU when you might be having issues with your motherboard and your PCI Express slots or your video card. That kind of sucks. So maybe keep around that old cheap video card you have that you know works, just for troubleshooting purposes.
Oh, and I forgot, there was someone who caught in the comments, specifically the Origin ones. They kind of mentioned, at least when I was posting, that they've got one overclocked to 5.1 gigahertz. They seem to have since removed it, but it was there.
I think they were showing 5.1 gigahertz at the event from some of the videos I was watching today that people posted from the press event that Ryan was at. I think 5.1 is a number I've seen for that stuff, which would be very nice. Very nice.
All right. Now we can do the Bulldog. Unless we want to talk about Ryzen anymore.
You know what you could? Well, you couldn't really put Ryzen in a Bulldog very easily because it's a bare bones with an Intel motherboard.
That's
I mean, you could.
You could if you really wanted to. Okay. So we did a video perspective. Actually, Ryan did on the Corsair Bulldog. And you know, we saw this at CES, I believe, right? Did we write anything up on it at CES? Yeah. Oh, we might not have. Basically, it's a home theater PC designed system. It's like comes with a Z270 board. All the fans that you would need for the build. Basically, you just add, the other CPU, RAM, GPU to this system, and away you go. Basically, it looks nice. It does have a glossy front panel, which I'm kind of like about. Glossy plastic is.
Yeah, but I mean, in theory, if this is sitting below your TV, it shouldn't really be touched that often.
Yeah.
Wipe it down with a microfiber cloth every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's like a game console in that respect, that they have glossy front. At least the Xbox has a glossy front.
That's true. Yeah, a lot of the game consoles do that. So Ryan did this, slapped this build together. System ran reasonably quiet, and then we have an LG B6 65-inch OLED TV in the office we were trying out. So we hooked the Bulldog up to that, and we're playing that Resident Evil game in HDR.
I can't do survival horror, man, especially at 65 inches.
65
right in front
inches,
of my face.
like that you're sitting 3 feet from.
No, I can't do it.
In the dark.
Not for me.
Alone,
Yeah,
Not for
at
me.
night.
Yeah, well,
No.
no, we had the lights off.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean,
the
if
office,
you're going to
of
go that
course.
far, you got to have the
Yeah.
lights off.
And random people knocking at the door.
Yeah. And we did, actually somebody in the comments mentioned, hey, did you do the lag patch for HDR on the TV? And although we were looking at it and it didn't seem to have that much input lag in HDR mode without that patch, but apparently it doesn't auto update to the most recent firmware. You have to intentionally download it to USB and do the update manually if you want to do, because the only thing it does is adds game mode for HDR.
Interesting. I wonder if that kind of breaks something along the way,
I
or it might
don't
has
know.
the potential to break something, so they didn't push it to everything.
Maybe it's just a risk management thing. Like every time you push out firmware, you're risking bricking some
Like a
sets,
capture
right?
card.
So
Yeah.
if they only added game mode to that,
Yeah.
it's like we're not going to massively
If
push this out.
you probably know if you want it.
Yeah.
Because if you're buying a OLED 4K HDR display for gaming, you've probably done a little bit of research.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Did look freaking amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I
And
will-
this that was like the perfect use case to show off this system. Something you need a lot of GPU horsepower for. A brand new game at 4K. I mean, HDR doesn't really add that much overhead to game rendering, but
I don't know if Ryan put this in a video, but we did notice a couple of spots where, a couple of scenes where you had sky with a slight gradient, and you can actually see some banding in colors. You can only see it in HDR mode.
yeah.
You couldn't see that banding, in regular, in non-HDR mode. So, but it was only very subtle in a couple spots, and I think Ryan and I just kind of concluded maybe the engine was just doing it because the engine had
I mean,
so much.
It's still
The guy who
such
did
new
the
stuff.
skybox is now getting beaten.
Yeah.
No.
So I mean, cool looking system.
Yeah,
What was the price?
It's
of-
$399 for the bare bones, which is the case, motherboard, and CPU cooler. It's a liquid CPU cooler, I believe.
Yep.
That's not bad.
No,
I
it's
mean,
not
you get
bad.
a Z270 motherboard. I think it's like a MSI OEM board that's Corsair branded. That
Yeah.
it has a decent amount of features. It's a nice case. Get a 600 watt power supply, I think, and a cooler. I mean, $399 is not bad for that. Just add in the Skylake or Kaby Lake, some RAM, and a GPU, and whatever storage you have.
Yeah.
Not too bad. I mean, you can be well under $1,000 for a decent system. Maybe if you don't go 7700K 1080.
There is a 2.5-inch bay and what looks like a single 3.5-inch bay.
Yeah, I don't remember how many drives it supports. I think it might support more than that with some sort of hidden, kind of more hidden
Yeah, there might
mounting
be a
features.
compartment. Or
You can
something.
run 3 2.5s or 1 2.5 and a 3.5.
Yeah, that's pretty good. It's still a little taller than I would really want in a home theater PC. It's about the height of a high-end AVR receiver. So like a 5.1 or 7.1 or whatever modern
that-
receiver.
It's the height of an iPhone 6S Plus.
Helpful. But it wouldn't fit in any of the cubbies I have in my entertainment system. So it's
Well,
kind
no,
of a
you
moot
store it
point at that.
underneath your lapdog.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things I heard when people were reviewing that video was that it's a large machine for an HTTP.
Yeah, it is. When you see stuff like some of these smaller ITX cases, like the Ncase M1 that we took a look at, there are definitely people being way more aggressive on that sort of form factor with full-size GPUs that I would be more geared towards, but it's a fairly compelling package.
Yeah, it went together really
price.
well.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of a hitch with getting the card in.
Yeah.
It required a little bit of Tetrising. Besides that, it just slammed right
But
together.
I mean, that was a water-cooled GPU in there too, right? It was a self-contained water-cooled Hydro 1080 in there. So you have a water-cooled CPU and GPU and something that might be able to fit in your AV cabinet. That's not bad, especially for $400.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Qualcomm announces Snapdragon X20 LTE modem. Am I in the right place?
Yeah.
Yet another faster way to jam bits across the airwaves, basically, as Ken smacks the mic with
I got like 3 laptops in front of me I'm trying to use. Give me a break.
furious anger. I haven't read this, unfortunately.
No.
Oh wait, no, this is the one Ryan was talking about, like
Mm-hmm.
a while back. Yeah, Quam 256.
What did we decide cable modems are doing currently?
They do Quam 256
Only?
over copper.
They only, like they aren't at 512?
No, it's like multiple channels, I think. Like
Okay.
I think DOCSIS 3 is like, well, depending on what modem you have, like the more recent modem that I got for after my upgrade to support like higher than I think 200 megabit or something. It supports like 650 megabit or something. But
Yeah.
it's like 8 channels of like
Clam
of
256.
Clam 56, right, or something like that. But you got to realize that's over copper. This is doing this over the air
Yeah.
from like a cell tower.
That's pretty amazing.
That is impressive. Like you need extreme precise timing going on both ends.
It's a lot of modulation you got going on there.
Yeah, yeah.
And
it
nowhere
seriously
in
is.
there does it say 5G at all. They're just going off of 4G LTE, just making it better.
And if you don't know what QAM is, I would recommend just going to like Wikipedia and looking at the article or something like that, because it's just there's a lot of detail there.
Not the bivalve.
You're basically doing very, very precise, very slight shifts in like the polarity, basically.
Yeah.
With the dilithium crystals.
Yeah, you're reversing the polarity of the
witchcraft.
dilithium
It's
crystals.
crazy. It's crazy.
It really is. Well, maybe polarity is the wrong word, but like, yeah, you're doing just
Remember when we were originally promised Thunderbolt?
You
When
mean
it was
light
lightning,
peak?
and so they were doing different phases of light, and it would come over the same link.
yeah. It's
Not
basically
exactly
what that
the
is.
same, but it's a metaphor.
Yeah, no, that's a good analogy to it. It's just ways to get more stuff crammed over a specific, frequency. So, I'm just shocked to see that being used over that. So 100 megabits per second per stream. So that's crazy. It's like seriously crazy.
It's
and
also a 10 nanometer chip.
yeah. There's that going too. So 100 megabits per second per stream, it'll do 12 streams.
Mm-hmm.
That's insanity.
1.2 gigabits.
Yeah. Over the air from like a cell tower.
Witchcraft. You get the scales, I'll get the duck.
Yeah, that's crazy. That
Put
really
that in the
is
middle
crazy.
of Levi Stadium. See how well it does.
Yeah.
Well, so what you have to realize is like the faster you can go, the smaller your slices are. So potentially that might do better in a stadium compared to the previous iterations. The problem is you need more people to be
On these cutting edge
on the
devices
cutting
with
edge
new
devices.
modems.
Yeah. Although, I mean, the spec, I'm pretty sure the spec allows for like, the different time slices. Basically, it would tell, if you're one of the older phones in the stadium, right? It just tells you, well, wait this long before you talk to the tower again. But then you could potentially fit more chunks of those newer devices in the gap,
Yeah.
right? So, it might not, you probably would be a wash for, for the person on the solar phone.
But we don't care about them.
We don't.
Oh.
That's insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
It's technology marches on with this kind of stuff. Things just get faster and faster. Yeah, 10 nanometer FinFETs and a cell phone radio.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the carrier side is the slower part of all of this. Modem tech is
Well,
is
over
the first.
here.
Well, I mean,
Head over
The
to
modem-
Europe,
the
and they're
modem
already
comes-
screwing with stuff like this.
yeah. The modem
Yeah.
generally comes out before the carriers support the features, which makes sense, obviously.
Yeah.
But they're saying consumer devices in first half of 2018, so probably the Galaxy S9 at that point.
Yeah. And I would imagine that FinFET is probably partially responsible for being able to go up to that high of a QAM. Like, it's not necessarily what your megahertz or gigahertz or whatever your frequency is, right? It's like to have such a level of precision on the switching, on the timing, when that switching takes place, right? And how fast it is. So they're probably running up against regular older FET limits as far as like how much data they could cram across the transmitter and the receiver. So
I guess that makes sense.
it's entirely possible. Yeah, because FinFETs, have very, very fast switching.
Yeah.
Okay. What's next? Next is QT. What is QT? The QT company announces QT 3D Studio. QT. Who are these people? Scott wrote
quick
this.
Time.
Scott wrote this, so it probably has something to do with video rendering.
No.
No?
Yeah, Qt, Alex can probably explain this best, but Qt is essentially a framework that sits on top of C++ that allows you to create graphical interfaces. Is that a fairly safe assumption?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a cross-platform framework.
Yeah.
You could write to Qt and then build it for Windows, Linux, mobile, and in theory, it just works.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So that you don't end up with like a Linux port of something having this god-awful crap GUI.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, part of the issue with Qt is that they're all kind of god awful, but they're the same god awful across
right.
all of the operating systems.
Wonderful.
This is interesting, this Qt 3D Studio, because it is something that NVIDIA contributed to the project, and it's sort of the tools they've been using to build out their autonomous driving interface stuff.
Okay.
So if you watch this video, you can kind of see them quickly building out maybe a car interface. So it's sort of bringing these more advanced 3D design tools to Qt apps, which is definitely an area where a lot of Qt developers could use a lot of help and just kind of have easier tools and access to this sort of stuff as things get a little more advanced.
So it's full-blown 3D rendering going on in a GUI.
Yes.
It's a far cry from buttons.
Now, I also believe that Qt announced support for Vulkan recently.
Yeah, I don't know when they said that was in there, but that's something. Yeah, Qt joined Kronos
reading
the day
the-
Vulkan launched.
The article, they joined Kronos Group when Vulkan launched.
Well, it says
They're still working on it.
Yeah, it says 5.10, which I think will be pretty close. I think they're close to 5.10 on Qt currently. Very end of 2017 or early 2018 is when they're estimating.
It's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Yeah, Qt apps tend to be a little slow on the rendering side.
Well,
I mean, there are trade-offs when
There
you're
are.
making something that's universal. Speed is generally a trade-off, but it is very nice to have one code path for that stuff.
cool. Cool stuff. All right. Well, hasn't crashed yet.
Why would you say that?
Don't
Let's keep
tempt it,
going.
man.
Well, because, we're just at the hardware software picks of the week. So if that does happen, then our pick is not any of the things we're using. How about that? Jeremy, what you got?
I know nothing. Actually, pretty damn decent price on a PCIe 4 NVMe M.2 for Canada. Getting 512 gigs for $339 with an extra $10 off is not bad at Oh.
What does that work out to?
It
66.
doesn't meet Ryan's pricing.
It's 66 cents a gig. It's kind
Yeah,
of
but
on.
what's that in real dollars?
I mean, that's kind of on the high
Significantly
side.
less.
No,
Oh.
it's 66
Significant-
Canadian cents
Oh,
per gigabyte.
Canadian cents.
This
per
is
gigabyte.
Kanakistan.
Yeah.
So not only is it not just a direct
So it's what,
dollars
3/4
to
of
dollars,
that essentially?
there is a premium. There are taxes.
Oh,
There's benefits to living in Canada. There's some drawbacks as well. But hey, you're about to get a new AMD system. You're going to need a 4x PCI Express M.2 MDME.
and then
This
you gotta,
M8P is not a bad choice.
and then you got to convert the gigabytes to metric and all the other stuff to figure it out for over there. Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It makes it bigger up here.
Ah, I see. All right, cool. Josh.
Me. A little throat clearing for you. This may be shocking, but it's a medium-priced AM4 motherboard. It's the Asus X370 Pro, well, the Prime. Looks like a nice, well-rounded unit. Did I say that in the nicest way possible? Color is fine. Doesn't look like it's overwhelmed with RGBs. It's got plenty of I/O features. 2 M.2 ports, I believe. And yeah, it's got all the other goodies like better audio, and you got USB 3.1 throughout. And looks like plenty of power phases, though we haven't heard anything about the new powering of these Ryzen processors compared to FM2 Plus. What has changed? That'll be nice to hear. Maybe we should have asked Ryan about that when he was being talked to by AMD. But anyway, $159 for a brand new board that has not seen the light of day. It's not horrible.
Just refresh my memory. Have previous AMD chipsets like paralleled the Intel chipset number? Because there's like a Z170, Z270, and X370. That's confusing as heck. Potentially.
Well,
for
it's
some
okay. Intel processors are now mimicking AMD processors.
They are?
You've never had an AMD 2600?
Oh.
A couple of generations
Video.
back?
Okay. All right. Well, as long as I keep with the X and don't put a Z on there, I guess. Yeah, it is still kind of confusing though, because like there are other versions of 270 that's not a Z. Like there's H270. There's
There's what, B350
B350,
B350
A300.
or the other X300 is the ITX chipset, right?
man, it's just
Yeah.
all right. Well, anyway. Next up is me. I have been doing a lot of like random coding lately. And this site has been pretty dang handy. It's ss64.com. They have different categories of basically everything, like database scripting, OS scripting, like, PowerShell, OS 10, like literally batch scripting or like bash for Linux. And you can go into any of those categories, and then within the category, you just get a dump of like what would be a programmer's reference of like basically all of the commands, and all of them are links. And each link, from what I've seen so far, is usually a pretty detailed description all the way down to, in most cases, like examples of code.
You could just keep deep linking
Yeah, you
here.
can basically just you just kind of keep going. Well, that's related. But
Yeah.
there's lots and lots and lots of stuff there. Very, very handy. And there's even like a built-in
Ooh,
search
passwords.
And there's passwords.
password generator.
Extra strong version.
Where did you find a password generator?
It says passwords.
Oh, at the bottom. Interesting.
I probably shouldn't show my passwords on the stream.
Oh,
Mm.
Oh, CSS. There you go.
Extra strong version. All right. Anyway, that's what I got. What do you got, Ken?
I'm going to have Alex cut away while I pull up the website for mine because I am woefully unprepared.
Ha.
Womp womp.
You didn't put your pick in the show notes.
No. Yeah, I just came up with it.
That's okay. He put his passwords on the screen, so
Came up with it literally
Well,
seconds before.
Well, yeah.
If your password is 1234, you got bigger problems.
Yeah, with your luggage.
What problems?
Luggage problems.
Oh, yeah, fair. So as you may have noticed over the years, I have this 11-inch MacBook Air. Cut back to the camera, Alex.
oh, this one, the refurb.
Yeah, I have an 11-inch MacBook Air. It's a 2013 model. I reviewed it when it came out on PCPro.com. And I really like the form factor. Don't like OS X as much these days. I think they've done a lot of stuff kind of bring in iOS elements I haven't liked. And been kind of looking for a new computer because the battery on this thing is totally shot. It's like 50% of the original capacity.
Lovely.
And one of the machines I've really liked over the years is the Dell XPS 13, which is what Ryan uses. It's a pretty moderately priced machine. I think it's like $1,100 for the config I'd want with the i5 1080p screen and 256 gigs of storage. It might actually be a little less than that. However, if you spent any time on Dell's outlet site, you can know how awesome that is. And if Alex will cut to the screen capture here.
I'm allowed to now?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can see stock on these changes a decent amount, but if you go ahead and look at like the i5 7200U, the Kaby Lake brand new SKU with 128 gig M.2 SSD, 8 gigs of memory here, the 1080p display is $750. And that is a fantastic deal on a laptop. It's one of the best PC laptops you can buy with most of the specs you need. You might want to put a new SSD in there if 120 gigs isn't enough for you, but it just has an M.2 slot that could take SATA or PCIe. So you can just take off the back and you can do that. And $750 is pretty good. I've seen a couple pop up with like the 256 gig storage option for like $780. So if you're interested in one of these, keep an eye out. But Dell Outlet is always an awesome resource if you're looking for desktops, laptops, monitors. They have great deals. Their refurbs are great. And yeah, I would highly recommend checking it out. I might end up with an XPS 13 here soon. See.
Oh, you know what it was? I just found it. What I thought was going to be an awesome pick, but I couldn't find it.
You should probably save that for next week.
It's going to be cutting it close. Look at when it ends.
Just mention it. It's fine.
It ends Thursday. All right, so we talked about this a year or two ago. There was this OB-Hi thing, a little box you plug into your network, and then you plug a phone into it, and it connects you to Google Voice.
I thought they were discontinuing that.
They discontinued the 100 series and the 110 series that they're not going to support anymore, like soon. So I got an email recently that says, hey, we're going to end support for these, but we have the newer box we're selling. And
oh, that's convenient.
well, true, but they'll give you $10 off, and the box is only $50 in the first place, so you get it for like $39 through Amazon. And there's an Amazon promo code. So if you look up the OBI200 on Amazon,
It's your only hope.
which should be going for like $50 or so.
$47.97.
Oh, it's even cheaper. It's OBDeal2 is the promo code. So if you add it to your cart and then you apply the promo code OBIDEAL2, then you get it for like less than $40. And it's basically just they're flat out like branding it with Google Voice on the front of it now.
Yeah.
Like they're not even.
Well, they say it supports four other services as well, and I was just kind of curious if they
Yeah,
list
and
any of those.
And it initially did support like Google Voice was like the secondary feature.
yeah.
And it initially supported, I forget what the other VoIP thing was. It might have
Probably
been their
SIP.
own. It might have been their own thing. Like their
No, I
own
think it's SIP.
something. Was it?
I think it's SIP, which
Oh,
is
okay.
kind of the standard
Mhm.
protocol for VoIP stuff.
Yeah. So this one, just
Yeah.
straight up Google Voice thing that'll be supported for.
Oh, okay. Google Voice, NVO, phone power, and VoIP in this? I've never heard any of those.
So
but-
basically-
I
Google
bet you there are a
Voice.
bunch of free SIP services.
well,
Probably.
Yeah, it's nice to see that it supports other services because, I mean, over the however many years, Google has been so fleeting about whether or not it's going to shut down Google Voice.
Yeah,
like they
I
just
know.
issued app updates for the first time in like 4 years, so maybe they won't at this point. But
Yeah.
it's very kind of. I wouldn't want to tie things completely to Google Voice for $50. It's not bad, and the idea that it can support other SIP services and you would have a way out of Google Voice is kind of cool.
But I mean, just compare that to, $40 that you pay one time, and Google Voice numbers are free. Compared to whatever you're paying. If you're paying something monthly,
Zero.
Well, if you're paying something monthly for a phone that you actually want in your house, just replace it with this thing. It's kind of like the whole leasing the cable modem from the cable company versus buying your own modem, right? You buy the modem, so you're not paying the $5 a month or whatever, and then within a year it pays for itself, right?
Just don't have a phone.
I'm just very
Well,
disappointed
yeah.
that the deal isn't OBD2, in
Yeah.
reference to that cutscene we never saw from Star Wars.
Unless you have a house where you don't have cell service, then I can definitely see where something like this would be nice. But
Yeah.
if you already have a cell phone and you already have cell service,
Well, some people still want like a landline. Like, if you got
why?
if you got kids that are younger and they don't have cell phones,
yeah, but
Right,
young
which
kids
is a
don't need
thing.
to talk on the phone.
well, But if they do, they could talk on the Google Voice phone, like
Yeah.
as long as they want. Who cares? Anyway, that's all I got. Again, pcper.com/podcast, where you find the show notes, all the stuff we talked about. Twitter.com/pcper. And with that, I'm Alan Mamontano.
I'm Jeremy Hellstrom.
I'm Josh Walrath.
And I'm Ken Addison.
Good night
Oh, ding, 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 ding.
I'm a little tired.
and good luck.
No.
Don't talk to me about tired.
Okay, I won't. I have to get my kids up at 5:30 for their bus ride.
Leash.
I'm halfway to work at that point.
Nice. Oh God.
Oh,
That's rough.
Oh, even best. The best part, it's remote testing on the ISP changeover, because that. Yeah.
All right, Mark, get out of here because I'm falling asleep.
Okay.
Good
Have a good one, Josh. Oh, he's gone.
Night, guys. Thanks for watching.
Later, Mr. Jeremy. Two times they cut me off.
That's talent right there.
Uh,
How are we gonna diagnose this stupid thing?
Send it back. Give us a new one.
But, should we try pointing a fan at it?
Someone asked if that OB thing is going to work after a year. Like that first one I hooked up.
Well, that's because Google essentially tried to kill Google Voice like 8 times and
Well, no,
killed
the-
the API and stuff.
The,
and,
the only
like,
the only thing that broke it was when Google changed their authentication for
Yeah.
Google Voice.
Yeah.
And then you had to basically just re-sign it in.
Can-
But it was like, that was it. That was the only time. So basically, I had to touch it one time since installing it, which was like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's just worked. So
People keep suggesting the Epiphan AVIO stuff. That's not going to work for us. We can't have 4 of those USB devices hanging off a computer. That would be a nightmare with different USB buses.
yeah,
Mhm.
no, we're not.
You would have to
we're not
have
doing-
like 3 add-in cards for that,
We're not doing USB video capture.
and they're like $400 a pop.
And we don't have that many USB ports.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're already out of USB ports on that.
I mean, our original Blackmagic Quad worked fine until the firmware update bricked it. So hopefully they just send that back and it's fine.
And then we're gonna return that one or something after
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Considering it doesn't work.
that too.
I think we were thinking about keeping it because it does have.
It is a nicer card. I mean, it does give us more.
Nicer in that it doesn't work.
It's 1080p60 and it can
technically
input and output
speaking.
at the same time.
Oh, so the other one is not 1080p60.
Correct. Right. It's a by 4
Oh.
card. This is a by 8 card.
But it's got 9 DIN connectors on it. I haven't figured out what that last one's for.
It's timecode pass through.
Oh,
The other
Nice.
one had 9 connectors as well.
okay.
Well,
Yes, I realized we could put USB 3.1 cards in the system. However, having dealt with USB capture cards
yeah,
before,
no.
they're very particular about being hooked up to different USB
multiple USB devices like that.
USB controllers.
We're already,
Yeah. And Epiphan also makes internal cards, but they don't make a quad card, so we'd have to have 2 of those. Now Alex is onto the real stuff. Is the AJ? I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce that or not.
what is it?
The 4K IO or the Kona 4 are kind of seem to be the next step up, but they're also twice as expensive.
I don't know. We did just have to buy a second card to tide us over, in theory.
I mean, I think we can probably get B&H to sample us
Just
one
return-
of the Kona
just-
cards,
just-
if so be.
Wait for the RMA to come back and return that one.
Yeah, I mean, Epiphan doesn't make SDI,
This card sucks. It only does 1080p 30.
SDI, PCI Express capture cards. They only make DVI, which is not ideal. And the dual link DVI or the 2 DVI card is $1,400, and we need at least 2 of those,
Hey,
as opposed to the.
Technoscope says the computer isn't beasting enough. What's funny is if we shift off a Wirecast and we go to this other,
What's the
vMix.
CPU usage in
is it
Wirecast right now?
vMix?
Hold on.
Well,
Well, you don't have the other Skypes running, so it's,
Well, you can stop the recording probably.
Just letting it run.
yeah, so that's twice.
Yeah, we're at 15% CPU.
Yep. It was at 7 with vMix, doing all of the same level of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
So it basically
vMix-
cut the
vMix
CPU.
is an obviously better program. I think we will switch to it,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
we have this capture card thing to sort out.
And the reason the CPU's numbers we're quoting are so low is because that's a freaking, 40 core system?
40 thread.
Or 40 thread, 20 core, 40 thread system.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, where if vMix does a lot of that, shifts a lot of all the encoding and the video processing over straight to the GPU and stuff like that, you could get away with way less of a beast of a system.
Mm-hmm.
You still need decent video hardware and you still need enough slots to plug in all the things. But other than that, you wouldn't need, and potentially that might fix some of the other random issues we've had with that machine, which just, you know,
The issue is, I mean, I know why people are suggesting the Epiphan products, and it's partly because Linus switched to them and it solved a lot of problems with their workflow, but they have 2 maximum of 3
yeah,
inputs in their computer.
they don't do a lot of.
I mean, we're trying to do 4 cameras and a PC input and SDI out to another. Like, we're another order of magnitude more than them. Which there's an argument to be made of whether that's necessary or not. But
also true.
We did a single shot podcast tonight and it seemed to work out okay.
yeah, I mean, like,
Yeah.
the podcast is fine. The podcast isn't the only live thing we do.
We have
the
somebody in
podcast is the only
studio.
live thing we did, like Linus, and it would be fine. And their setup seems to work really awesome for them. I just watched their video of the new stuff, and they've got a lot of cool gear in there. But it's when we do these live interviews and live reviews, and we need 3 cameras in the studio and a PC capture and ability to add another camera in on the fly, that a lot of this stuff just kind of breaks down. We're trying to do more than a lot of people for the price.
So you're saying we might have bitten off a little bit more than we can chew?
Absolutely.
sometimes?
Absolutely. There isn't exactly a market segment for us. But I mean, like, the other card worked fine until the firmware updater bricked it, so.
It would have been nice if they would have called it a firmware update instead of your hardware needs software installed.
Yeah, I didn't even think
Okay.
about that when I told you to do it. I would have, if I had thought about that, I wouldn't have told you to do it because it was an unstable system.
Well, if Windows 10 had a blue screen 80% through it,
because of
would've
an
been okay.
audio interface.
Yeah. A USB audio interface.
Yeah. You USB guys out there? Yeah, USB blue screening and install repeatedly. At random moments, too.
Yeah, it was not stable
Yeah.
in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. It would actually work. And then it just randomly blue screen.
Yeah.
But no, actually, I take that back because it was running stable for about 2.5 hours before I ran the Blackmagic installer because I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I thought it resolved itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then no.
And because of that USB audio interface, blue screening the box during the firmware update caused us to have the.
And it's funny. People keep joking about Matrox, but they do make a quad SDI capture card that's PCIe by 8.
I've had multiple
much
Matrox
is it?
cards,
Yeah.
and they've just worked.
Yeah. I mean,
mean,
they're
That's
like,
pricey.
Well, it's in between the Blackmagic option and the Kona
Yeah.
4. So
Is there a
Now, Black
is
Magic.
there an HCL for VMix? Like, are there specific capture cards that it is?
I think so. I know the Kona's on there. I don't think the Blackmagic stuff is on there. I don't know if the Matrox is. Matrox is on the Wirecast list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a reason that Matrox still exists, and it's because of this sort of market segment. Like, they do one thing now, and they do it well, and they've got their little corner of the market. So yeah, it might be something to look at as well.
Now, Black Magic also makes a dual input card.
Yeah.
The Deckley.
Yeah, but the issue is once you start adding more of these cards into a system, you get stability issues because we used to have 4 HDMI capture cards in that system, which is why we had to get something with so many PCIe slots.
Right.
And that was just completely unstable. And switching to the quad helped because I assume the drivers are more qualified to work with one card other than 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get the RMA back for the Quad 1 and see how it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder how quick they turn those around.
They wouldn't give me a timeline.
Of course they wouldn't.
Yeah.
So I was expecting probably 4 to 6 weeks.
I
Better not be for a
I
freaking
think it will be
$1,000.
faster than that, considering the fact that their support is good enough that you could just get someone on the phone from 9 to 5.
You can.
You called someone, right?
I called someone the first time
Yeah.
and got right in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The second time, I sat on hold for 45 minutes and gave up.
Well, you were calling towards the end of the day.
Well, yeah.
That is one thing I heard about Blackmagic support is if it's within the middle, it's like middle of the workday, you can get someone on the phone, it's fine. But at the end of the workday, they peace out.
Well, they're out in California, aren't they?
I think they're on the East Coast. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I thought they were in Pacific time for some reason.
Yeah, maybe. Wouldn't surprise me either way.
The audio was, people thought the audio was borked. I think it was just Ken bleeding over into the other mic.
Yeah.
He was gating Alex's mic over there, bouncing off
It's
the
getting
wall.
animated.
You won't like him when he's angry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're Alex C, not Alex U. We're on Wirecast 6 still because we had so many stability problems getting to Wirecast 6, so we just stayed here. I do think VMix is the answer for that for software.
Yeah, VMix
Software
looks
side.
very, very nice.
It's such a more flexible and actively developed application than Wirecast. It's just the hardware. Because when we switched back to Wirecast, it was doing the same
yeah,
thing.
it was
so-
still doing the flickery thing. So, and not only was it a switch back to Wirecast, it was a completely different OS install on another drive.
Yeah, it would
So-
swapped out SSDs for
Yeah.
the main system drive on it, so probably the same. Well, did you update the driver on the old Wirecast box on this SSD?
No.
Huh, interesting. So we're running different driver versions even.
Wait, no. I did uprev on the production
Okay.
instance because I did that to see if it would unbrick the Quad 2.
Yeah, okay.
Which it didn't. Like it wouldn't even show up in the BIOS as a populated slot.
Yeesh. Yeah. I've just been waiting for that to happen. Automated firmware updates when you update drivers is not necessarily a good thing. And the DVI capture card we have, the specialized one that we have in there, does the same thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there was an issue where, what was it? We had to go one version back on the driver because the newest version was not updating the firmware.
Oh, really?
There was something with like the VR capture stuff
Yeah.
when we were troubleshooting it.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, the special trick to that is you have to install one driver back first,
Yeah.
so that it updates the firmware. Then you can install the newest driver. It's like,
Yeah.
what? Seriously?
Okay, Blackmagic is on the West Coast, it looks like. if you switch to the PC capture real quick, vMix does have a partner list, but the issue is everyone's on it.
Well,
So that doesn't really narrow anything down.
then I mean, that,
Complete list of supported hardware. Let's
Oh.
see here. Video capture hardware. And not a lot. The Blackmagic Quad 2 is listed as a new device that's
that
supported. DataPath is our DVI capture card. Matrox VS4 is the 4 SDI. You know, so all these seem to technically be supported, which makes sense. I mean, yeah, the Kona 4 is the other one I was looking at. I don't even know how new the Decklink Quad 2 is. I don't know if that's a super new board or not.
I don't think it's that new. Maybe 2 years?
Really? I just remember last time I was looking at this stuff, it didn't exist, obviously, or else that's probably the one we would have gotten. And of course, you're not going to find a release date anywhere. There's a knowledge base article on it, how to map it to be 8 channels instead of 4 in vMix.
Now with the Quad 2, that's a 3G SDI?
Yes, I think 3G is 1080p60.
Yeah. Kind of sad we had to send back the studio camera from Blackmagic. That was I had my hopes up for that, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily good enough to warrant any of that, it feels like. Oh God. Look at this. Look at this. See, this is how stupid video stuff is. Like, look at this mapping. I wonder, you should email vMix tomorrow and see. Just see if they have any thoughts about it. Because they've tested this hardware. Maybe they've seen something similar. They seem like the type of people that you could get support from, as opposed to someone like Telestream and Wirecast.
I will probably call up Blackmagic tomorrow
That
after
too.
things are edited down and say, hey, we got this card. It's brand new. There's some surface contamination on it when we bought it, and it's acting like it's dropping out.
Yeah.
I mean, because it was solid for a couple hours, and I swear those fans were running much, much more aggressively yesterday than they were today.
Mm-hmm. Don't apply offer to RMA it.
I just RMA it to Amazon, swap it out with a new unit.
Yeah.
I mean, we are right next to their depot, so.
People who don't care about video stuff will appreciate that this video capture card has a PLX chip on it, a PCI bridge chip on it, which seems kind of insane.
Well, we're talking about this before the show. It's literally the Quad 1 chip, and they just put another one on it.
Mm-hmm. It's 4 Decklink Duo, like ASICs, I think, essentially.
Got to get that sweet, sweet return on investment.
Yeah. This board is copyright 2015, so it's not exactly a new.
So about 2 years.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing we might try is just like pointing a 120 millimeter fan at this thing when it's running.
But you didn't measure it hot, though, did you?
Well, it had crashed a while after that, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
When I was firing up vMix on the test rig, on the test install, those fans cranked up real hard,
Yeah.
and they didn't do it today.
I wonder what happened if you. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Like, it was annoying. It was like a weird,
Yeah.
weird.
I mean, they were spinning when I checked them, but yeah, it wasn't necessarily noticeable.
So we get an aquarium and a bunch of mineral oil, and just dunk the whole thing in there.
Good luck finding a aquarium big enough for that.
I have
motherboard.
one in my basement. I will
Yeah.
be more than welcome to bring it in here and get out of my basement.
Yeah, right. They're telling us to water cool it. That would be the Linus Tech Tips route.
Yes, water cool your capture cards.
Yeah. And of course, since it doesn't instantly fail, troubleshooting it's fun because you just kind of have to let it run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what we were doing before the show. We let it run for like 5 minutes, and it worked fine.
I guess when we shut this down, we might swap it. And when you come in tomorrow to edit the podcast, just turn it on and open up vMix and let it run, and then see if it does it without you with just having the card open. And
right.
And you might even try that with just the Blackmagic utility. Just keep that open for a couple hours and see if it cuts out.
Right. Yeah, it seemed to start acting up anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes after boot.
Yeah. Because if it happened with their utility, then it's even more hardware problem and not just a
Well, their utility only pulls one channel
at a time. Yeah.
So you can switch, but
it
vMix
wouldn't put the same load on it.
Right. And it's gotten worse. It started with just channel 3 blipping out, and now it's doing it on all 4 channels. So we might be able to switch it to use all 8 channels for input and then shuffle them up to inputs, 5 through 8, but how long is that going to last?
Yeah. Yeah. And it'd be interesting to leave that running. We could take the FLIR and shoot some thermal imaging of it tomorrow, which would help you contact support. Be like, hey, look at this thing. Maybe something's not going on.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whenever I've had to call up technical support and I have more information than a layperson, they usually get scared.
Yeah.
You did what with our card? No, it's fine. We got a power draw rig here. It's fine. We just desoldered a couple of the pads.
We did find the FLIR undermined. Alex found the FLIR in this office. All is well. Enable HPET in BIOS and Windows and see if it still gets confused. I don't actually know what that is.
We were looking at that in the BIOS. That's what I was asking about.
Yeah, the name's familiar. I just don't remember. High precision event timer. Yeah, that's right.
That was enabled.
Well,
that's the 3.2 megahertz clock. I think that article gives you some general frequencies of it, but ASUS boards. Is that like the ACPI HPET?
Mm-hmm.
They say it's under ACPI. I think it's the same thing that's used for the Windows.
Good save.
it's empty anyways.
For the Windows high precision timer thing, and
Yeah, it is.
it's also the same timer that I use for latency percentile.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we can do to troubleshoot, unfortunately. Too many things. It's always something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking about just getting a backup mini recorder.
Yeah.
The recording isn't the big deal.
Well,
we can, we have backups. We can slap SD cards in these things and rock and roll.
Well, he's talking about the Blackmagic Mini Recorder, which is just it's a Thunderbolt device that gives you one SDI and is relatively bulletproof. One of the issues is we don't have Thunderbolt on this board.
No, we don't. Now, was that the standalone recorder that actually had storage on it, or is that just basically a converter?
I think that's just the converter. And one of the funny things is
Oh, that
like
little white box?
all of their capture devices use the same driver, essentially. Like it's the same, from what I can tell, it's the same code path because all of the ASICs are essentially doing this exact same thing.
Right.
It's just different configurations of them.
Yeah, I still think we might be dealing with a bogus board.
Yeah. I mean, considering how fast it failed, that seems possible.
Dead after arrival.
Dead slightly after arrival. Dead right when you put in production.
Yep. Yeah, when I was talking to the guy.
Oh, okay. He is talking about the standalone box.
Oh, okay. Windows 3.1, not 3.11. Come on. Get with the program.
Just put the thing on the pizza oven. Probably not far off.
We can go shoot it. We can blow it up real good.
Real good.
Real good.
Pretty good.
Which one you want to shoot it with, the 45 or the shotgun?
I mean, obviously.
Shotgun be more fun.
Depends if you throw it or not. Cool.
All right. Let's end this thing.
Yep, we'll end it. Thanks for sticking around, guys. See you next week.